Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be talking about melee weapons in Battlefield 1 and which one is the best or which one you should pick for your play style. Now, unlike previous Battlefield games, melee weapons have different properties in Battlefield 1, from attack speeds to attack ranges to special properties like breaking wood, cutting down barbed wire, or even dealing damage to lightly armored vehicles. Now, if you want to know what the special properties of your weapon are, all you have to do is go into the customization screen, and next to any weapon, there will be a list of 3 symbols. Your weapon can have anywhere from 0 to 2 of those symbols active. And one of these symbols is barbed wire, which means your weapon can cut through barbed wire on the battlefield, which can be useful at times. The other one is a saw blade, which means your weapon can break wooden objects in the game, which could be useful for making a hole in a door or a window shutter that you might want to shoot through, or you might want to break it down for whatever reason, like a fence or something like that. And then the last symbol indicates that you can do vehicle damage. However, you can only do damage to lightly armored vehicles. This does not include armored cars. In fact, most vehicles in the game that have enclosed cockpits where you might not be able to get to the driver cannot take damage from a melee weapon. So in that sense, this ability almost seems pointless, because why would you attack an exposed vehicle when you could just shoot the driver? There's not much reason or rationale to this ability, but if you want a weapon that can do damage to only a few vehicles on the battlefield, then by all means you can pick some of those weapons. Now, when it comes to picking a melee weapon, I'm actually going to give you one in this video that I think is objectively better than every other melee weapon in the game. It's not to say it's going to make a huge difference in your overall gameplay, and if you really like the look of a specific melee weapon, you are more than welcome to pick that weapon over this one, because aesthetics, quite honestly, are pretty cool when it comes to the melee weapons in this game, and you may just want to have a cool looking takedown or a melee weapon that other people see and are like, oh wow, I can't believe that guy got that awesome unlock. Now, when it comes to picking your optimal melee weapon, there's 3 different weapon categories. There's the knife category. There's currently 7 different knives, and then if you really want to run a knife, it doesn't matter which one you pick. None of them have special abilities. They all attack at the exact same speed and do the exact same amount of damage. They do 35 damage apiece. They are the fastest attacking melee weapons, and they also have the largest range kill zone, which is basically the distance you have to be from someone in order to deal damage, but it's fairly minute when compared between melee weapons. The next category is clubs or maces. There's 4 different ones, plus an extra you can get from a Logitech promotion. You'll get a barbed wire spiked club. I don't think it's very different from any of the other clubs in the game. And each one of them does 45 damage with a medium attack speed and a medium attack range. And then the final category of weapons is sort of the hatchet shovel category. It consists of the hatchet, pickaxe, shovel, and the sawtooth knife. They all have slow attack speeds. Their kill zone is the smallest, but they do the most amount of damage at 55 per swing. Now, melee weapons could have been designed much more interestingly. Rather than all being lumped into one of 3 different categories, they could have all had their own special unique properties, which would have made people consider them differently. But there is one fundamental flaw with the melee system which makes all of these interesting stats and numbers kind of go out the window, and that is the takedown mechanic. And I'm not talking about the coming up behind somebody takedown mechanic where you can kill somebody with one melee attack no matter what weapon you're using. That is basically something that's become a staple in the Battlefield franchise. Even though I'm not crazy about it, it is a mechanic that's here and is probably here to stay. The mechanic I'm talking about is the one where you can instantaneously kill somebody from the front or from the side if your melee weapon does enough damage to kill them in one hit. Rather than swinging the weapon and doing that amount of damage, it'll actually put them into a custom takedown animation where they will be powerless to do anything against it while you are able to kill them instantly. One of the big problems with this mechanic is that it doesn't require much skill to initiate. You don't have to be precise with your aim when initiating a melee takedown. In fact, I have been aiming at somebody who has been standing, and my melee takedown automatically activated on somebody who is prone at the bottom of my screen that I didn't even see. So it was kind of weird that my character just chose to auto-aim attack somebody else that I wasn't even aiming at. If you compare this with somebody who's using a firearm to try and finish somebody off, you can't just instantaneously kill them once they're at a certain amount of health if they're in close quarters and you're firing. You still have to aim at them, you still have to try and do as much damage as possible, and headshots are going to do even more damage. There's a lot more skill and mechanics to killing somebody with a firearm in close range than there is with a melee weapon. And as much as I am against this takedown mechanic being in the game, I'm going to pick a weapon that's going to exploit this takedown mechanic and take advantage of it. And that is going to be in the axe and shovel category, because those weapons are going to be doing 55 damage per swing, which means if you get close enough to somebody who's got 45 damage or more done to them, you are going to kill them in one swing, and it's going to initiate the instantaneous takedown that they are powerless to do anything against. If you have the knife or club and they don't have quite as much damage done to them, you're going to have to swing at least twice to initiate that auto takedown mechanic. So you want the fastest kill in close quarters, provided that your opponent has significant damage done to them, then an axe really is going to be one of your best options available. Now you can certainly counter argue this point and say, well, what if my opponent only has 10 damage done to them? Well, in that case, the club would make more sense because the club does 45 per swing. 2 swings would be the rest of the 90 damage that they need to kill them. The second swing would put them into the automatic takedown animation. So in that specific scenario, the club would be better. And if they only had 30 damage done to them, then the knife would be the optimal melee weapon to take them down. However, my philosophy when picking the best melee weapon is what's going to be the best melee weapon for most of the situations. So if you run into an opponent with 100% health, the hatchet is going to enter the automatic takedown animation on your second swing. The other 2 classifications, knife and mace, will enter the auto kill animation on the 3rd swing. And even though the rate of attacks are different, the hatchet is still going to be the faster takedown at 100% health. If your opponent has 55% health or less, they will always be a one-shot takedown with the hatchet no matter what. However, if you're engaging an opponent who's between 56 health and 90 health, the other 2 weapon classifications might outplay the axe a little bit, but that's a very specific range. At 56 to 70 health, the knife will outplay the axe, and at 56 to 90 health, the club weapon will outplay the axe. But again, we're creating very specific scenarios where the axe has a very broad range. It's always going to be a 2-shot kill at 100%. 55 health or less on your opponent, it'll be a 1-shot kill, and the rest of the in-between area, it'll still be a fast takedown. Maybe lose out to the other 2 melee weapons by like a mere fraction of a second, and that's about it. Now also, there's 4 weapons within this heavier weapon category. I believe the hatchet is the best because it has both the ability to break barbed wire and the ability to break wood. The ability to damage vehicles, as we discussed earlier, seems to be mostly useless. So the hatchet really is my weapon of choice for Battlefield 1. Overall, the melee weapon that you choose probably won't impact your gameplay in a significant way, but if you're someone who really wants to maximize your killing potential in every way possible, then I recommend running with the hatchet. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.